Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to another edition of The Chair here on STV Real TV. And I'm sure that from the start of the program, just the introductory music would have given you a little insight into the fact that we have a different kind of program tonight, a very special program. You know the routine. Every night that we get together with The Chair, we of course have our panel that's on the inside and a very special guest that's either been in the belly of the politics for some time or they are actually vying for a political post. Well, tonight it's a bit different. We've got our panel, and I'd like to say welcome to the entire team on the inside. Good to have you here once again. And we've got a man whose name has been, of course, on the lips of most people in Trinidad and Tobago because of his recent moves. He's been a staunch and long-standing supporter, member of the United National Congress, and indeed he was a standing minister in the government of Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and most recently he's taken a very firm position to resign both from his ministerial post as well as his position as a member of the United National Congress. He's made some very strong statements, used language that I hadn't heard on a podium before, and I was very surprised but pleasantly at that someone would of course stand up and be so outspoken. But I've known him for quite some time. I grew up with him like most of you would have, and he's always been very outspoken and direct, and I think tonight the conversation between him and the members of the panel is going to be very interesting. I'd like to welcome to the chair Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, as I said before, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the program, but this is a show that is not about me. It's really about the conversation that will happen between you and these young people who are, in most instances, going to be facing the voting process come next week or just week after next. And of course, they have got a lot of questions about the whole political process, what happens. And I think you have a wealth of knowledge and experience to pass on. So I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to open the floor and let the conversation begin. Welcome to the program and do enjoy. Panel,
thank you very much.
Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters, it's all on you.
Good evening to each and every one of you, and thank you very much. Thanks a million.
Right. My question is, you recently claimed that the People's Partnership candidate for Mayaro, Rushton Parry, paid a $5 million bribe to contest the Mayaro seat in lieu of yourself. Are you willing to submit a sworn affidavit to the Integrity Commission in complaint?
First, you must quote me verbatimly, and I did not say he paid. I say it is alleged that he paid. I said I heard that. I said it was alleged that that happened, and based on the circumstances as they evolved and as they have shown themselves to be right now, any right-thinking person can deduce from it that there might be some truth in it.
Are you willing to submit a sworn affidavit to the Integrity Commission?
Well, you don't have to swear to an affidavit when something is a supposition or when something is.
Are you willing to submit a sworn affidavit to the Integrity Commission in complaint?
Well, then what am I going to swear to?
Well, it's a yes or no question, as well. That's what I'm trying to get to.
You only swear to something when it is a statement of fact.
So, no then.
Well, I think that the statement, the actual question doesn't arise because there's nothing to swear to an affidavit for.
Good night, Mr. Gypsy, right?
If you call me Gypsy, you don't have to add Mr.
Oh, Gypsy.
Just call me Gypsy.
All right.
If you call me Peter, then you'll have to
Mr.
add
Winston
Mr.
Peters. Good night. Renako Williams, representing the PNM National Youth League. My question to you is very simple.
From the PNM National Youth League?
Yes.
Great.
All right. Your former constituency boundaries have been extended, and they include a significant UNC catchment area. All right. So the UNC does not really need the Mayaro constituents, well, quote unquote, to win that area, right? The PNM area is smaller than the UNC area. My question is, is this why Dr. Munilal and Kamla Prasad-Visesa are saying that your resignation will have no effect on their winning that seat?
Well, I think that there might be some, you know, some merit to your question actually, because not that the constituency has been shrunk in any way. The constituency has been realigned, and that happened in 2007. And in 2007, when the constituency was realigned, there may have been at the time some advantage in terms of support base. But to say that the way how I look at the electorate of Trinidad and Tobago now, it is so much different to what it used to be. I don't believe that any place have any safe place for anybody. I believe that the intelligentsia of Trinidad and Tobago, which is all the persons, all the people of Trinidad and Tobago today, they do things based on the merit of what is going to be done. And it is very foolhardy for people to continue to think that because you used to do this, it's going to be done in perpetuity. People now think about what is going to happen. So to say that, there might be, because that is what we used to know, but the fact remains is that as it stands now, I believe that the electorate from here on in are going to be voting on the merit of what is being done for them.
Hi, good night, Mr. Peters. Leah Bristol here, Youth Ambassadors TT.
What from where I can't hear?
Youth Ambassadors TT.
Youth Ambassadors
Yes.
TT.
So you said you wouldn't say that the ship was sinking, but you said it's in turbulent waters, referring to the
Yes, I did
partnership,
say that,
right?
yes.
So my question to you is, how long would you say that you noticed the ship was in turbulent waters, and why did you choose now, in such a crucial time, to come out and say something?
You see, I want to say to you, right? Turbulent waters meaning it's very metaphoric in terms of what we are saying. And even the ship is metaphorical. But to say to you that why do I come out now? Now I want to say that I have been in an organization for a long time. And I think that everything has a time and place and a certain kind of appropriate place to speak. And there is no sense if I'm in an organization to come out and say anything, but it doesn't mean that I'm not speaking. It means that I'm speaking where it's appropriate to speak, and to who, and to whom I have to speak. And I have been speaking. It's not that I haven't been speaking. You would not have heard me at the time because I wasn't speaking to you.
Why are you speaking to us now?
Because the time is appropriate for me to speak to you
only
now. Because
it didn't go the way you wanted it to go?
No, not just.
I'm asking.
Not because it didn't work the way I wanted it to work, but because of the fact that I am no longer in there, so I don't have an audience with the people in there to speak to. And I want to speak, but I have an audience with you. And so I speak to you. Maybe you can transmit it to them when I'm finished.
Winston Peters, Kendall Wilson, Youth Ambassadors. In regards to a follow-up from Leah's question, is it you have since tendered your resignation from the United National Congress and also a member of the Kamla Prasad-Visesa administration. Why is it that, in terms of, is it about country or is it about basically your self-interest now that you have been rejected 10 days before an election? How can I trust you are you just saying it because you were rejected, or is it because that you are putting, and if you are or was putting country first, why did not, there were 4 years, 5 years before, why now? How could I trust you? And it's not just a case of sour grapes on your part.
I like your question. The fact remains is that if I was in a government, okay, doing things for my country, and then I was kicked out of that government where it is that governments are the one to do things for the country, okay? What am I going to do inside there? What am I going to do in that government?
No, but Mr. Peters, good night. As we're on that point, across here, as you're on that point.
Well, let me finish answer the question.
Right? I wanted to get you on that point.
I want to finish this. I'm saying to you that if I am in this government and I'm doing things from inside of this government for my country, that's why you get in government. And then they kick me out from there, okay? I'm no longer in that government. What am I just going to do? Sit down inside of there and do a jump around and say punkanak? No, I can't, because I wouldn't be able to do anything inside of there for my country. So I get out and look for other avenues where I would be able to do things for my country. Yes, sir?
Yes. Are you then saying, well, I'm Hushal Ramesser from the UNC?
I can tell.
Yes, I'm sure you can tell tonight. But, I mean, are you saying then that the Senate is irrelevant? You're saying that you're out of government. You were not. The fact of the matter is there are a lot of senators who vied for positions in the lower house. They were rejected by the various screening committees. They have not turned their backs on the party. But the fact is you were a sitting minister. You were not kicked out as an MP or kicked out as a minister. You still held the portfolio. There are still 15 positions open in the Senate. Are you saying the Senate is irrelevant, that you could not serve your country through the Senate? Because that's what you're saying. That's essentially what they're saying there. You can't serve the country unless you have a seat in the lower house.
If you went one time and you apply for a job as a policeman, right? And when you get inside of there, they tell you have to be a security guard. What would you do?
No, but you're not answering the
no,
question.
well, I'm answering you. That's
right?
how I choose that.
No,
that's
but,
how I choose
right,
that.
but then you are still able to serve in some
that's
capacity.
not what I'm saying. Listen, if you could please answer me, then we could have a conversation. If you went and applied for a job as a police officer, and when you get there, they tell you that you have to be a security officer, meaning like a Brinks or somebody who works with a baton and something somewhere. No, would you want that job, or you would want the job you apply for? I would take
it. It's still
well, when I came back to Trinidad after 30 years in the United States, I came back to Trinidad at the behest of Mr. Jack Warner to join the United National Congress to run for the specific reason of running for the seat of Ottawa Mayaro at the time on behalf of the United National Congress. And all I wanted to be, I don't care what other people want to be, whether they want to be a senator or whatever, if the time comes when I want to be a senator, then I'll apply for that senatorial job. As it were right now, the job that I came here and the job that I wanted was to be member of parliament for the constituency of Mayaro. And I have the right to choose whether I want to be something else or not. And I chose not to be anything else at this point in time.
And in that bearing then, I must ask, and this will be my last question for this particular section. You were rejected by the screening committee, right? It was their choice of candidate at the end of the day.
Sure.
Is it now that I was reading the Guardian newspaper today, and there's an article where the constituents themselves were interviewed, and they were saying that, it wouldn't matter to them. Is it now that they have vindicated? It's your choice that you wanted to be a member of parliament in the lower house, but you were not selected.
And you said the right thing.
Is it that they have vindicated now in their choice?
You see, life is about choices, right? And the same choice that the selection committee or the screening committee has to reject anybody that they choose. I have the same choice to reject anybody that I choose. And I have the choice to be in something if I want to, or don't be. I have the choice of accepting rejection or have the choice of not accepting rejection. I choose not to accept rejection. And I want to answer your question by asking you one. How many persons reside in the constituency of Mayaro? Do you know? Okay, we have more than 25,000 persons there. Can I ask you, that article that you saw, where they interviewed all these people, how many persons did they interview? And if so, what percentage of the residents of Mayaro were interviewed? And you have to, again, we talk about demographics just now of constituency, and I'm asking you, where these people who they interviewed and what part of our constituency did they come from? Because different you will hear different things, and you will hear that all the time. So that's how I can answer your question.
In that vein, then, you have the right to reject rejection.
Sure.
Nomination day has come and gone. Why did you not, at that point in time, why did you not put yourself up for election? And you did say in your at the press conference that you were holding off from the previous Thursday until today. In that case, why did you not go up for nomination, or why did you hold back on that Thursday? What were you hoping for?
Because you see, all the things that I am saying now, I wanted to talk to the Prime Minister privately, as I'm very used to doing in the past, talking to her privately before I come public, so that is why you would always, you always hear people say, but why didn't you talk before? Well, of course you talked before, but it's like let me just give you an analogy about something, right? Let me just align it with something else. I always hear people say, man, this place have a set of mosquitoes doing me airs all the time. And so let me tell you, mosquitoes be all by your foot. They'll be by your leg, but guess what? The only place that you could hear mosquitoes by your ear, because that's the only part of your body that hear. Well, it's the same thing. If I can't talk to the Prime Minister then, and she wouldn't hear me there, then I have to go somewhere else and talk. It's as simple as that. And that's why I'm talking now. I put it off last week because I wanted to speak to the Prime Minister as I want to doing all the time. She evaded me, and she evaded me for a long time, for maybe almost 2 weeks. So I just decided to come out and talk now. So what I had to say to her is what I'm saying to everybody now.
Good night, Richard Jackson, National Youth Development Organization. Yes. You said that you spent a lot of time with Kamla Prasad Bisesa personally over the last 5 years. I expect that would have happened a lot.
Personally meaning in a business capacity. We are always in cabinet, we are always in parliament, we are always at functions. And
yes, that's not what the question is.
Things in Trinidad and Tobago could be misconstrued at any time, so I just want to make sure. Yeah.
My question in short is in relation to the way she perceives herself, she presents herself in the public domain as a woman, as a grandmother, as a mother, and so on. Is she someone you would like your daughter or your wife to idolize and become something like what she represents?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want them to be like that.
It's good enough for me.
All right, so hello, good night, Gypsy.
Yes.
7-time extempo champion.
Yes.
It shows. You mentioned that in 2000, you mentioned that the constituency of Mayaro was realigned. And I want to kind of pick your brain on that. Do you believe that redrawing, that realignment would you consider that gerrymandering? In the sense that it was done specifically for the political interests of the people.
Conspiracy theorists would find that, but I would not, because I believe that there is always realignment. There was a time when Trinidad and Tobago had, I think it had 24, and then it had 36, and then it became 41. As the population grows, each constituency is supposed to have a certain amount of people, and when one constituency becomes, like all you young people here, you weren't around when they aligned whatever it is. But soon they will have to align maybe again, and we might have maybe 50 constituencies or more, and somebody will always find that. But in my own experience, I don't believe that. I believe these things happen because they realign it, because it's necessary to do that, to facilitate the amount of citizens that has to be at a particular geographical location at a particular time.
Hi, good day, Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Kieran Ramsmer. I vested youth in politics on Synergy TV's part, right?
A what?
Oh, by Synergy TV, I work here as well.
Oh, okay, right? Good.
So I just wanted to ask you, in the event that next 4 years you are offered an opportunity to go back up for Mayaro and part of UNC, or any other party, is there any particular party that swings your passion or goals currently?
4 years is a long time, and I don't know what is going to happen in 4 years. So that question, I think we put it in abeyance until the time comes a little closer.
Well, currently, as of this point.
As of this point, what?
To work within 4 years, does any party suit your current goals?
Yes.
Could you tell me which party?
I choose not to.
Okay, so I'll be quick. I have two questions. First, following up to that question, would you ever consider running for the Mayaro seat as an independent? And secondly, on the media end, like you've been very visible at least since yesterday up to this point. We've heard a lot of statements that you have to make about the party that you were formerly with, including the word ingrate, a very powerful word, a very nice word. And a lot of people are kind of confused now. They think you're just throwing a tantrum, that because you're not going to be in the public eye anymore, you're trying to soak up as much visibility that you can right now. What do you have to say about that?
Evidently, you're very young. I can tell. your age shows through your discourse. I have never depended on politics. I, more than any politician in Trinidad and Tobago, have been in the public eyes for virtually all my life. And even more than now, yes, even more than now I've been in the public eyes. So I don't need politics to be in the public eyes. If I ever need to be in the public eyes, I know how to get in the public eyes, and I don't need that.
How does that justify the way that you responded in particular? That instead of simply tendering your resignation and making going to the press and saying, well, I'm no longer going to be a member of this party, we have parted ways, two ships in the night, etc., you called Kamala an ingrate. Why?
Because I believe her to be that.
You thought that was a civil thing to do?
Did I think it was a civil thing to do? If I didn't think it was the right thing to do, I wouldn't do it.
And if I asked if it was the right thing to do, I asked if it was the civil thing to do.
Well, I don't know what's the difference.
If that was a responsible thing to say to the media about another individual.
But you see, what is a man if he doesn't say the things he feels? What is he? That's how I feel. You see, the thing about us is that we always try to be politically correct and politically indifferent. I don't try to be anything but me. If I feel to tell you you are whatever I believe to tell you, I will tell you that's what you are. Whether the press is there or the press is not there, but that is how I feel. I feel, and I say it again, I believe that she's an ingrate. And I have enough reasons for saying that. Your reasons, you may not say it because how I feel and what I know, you don't know and you don't feel. But this, I don't have to tell you because maybe I don't feel to tell you. You know, I want to tell you the thing about human beings, right? The thing about human beings is that they always want to hear what they think they should hear. And when you ask people questions, you don't want to hear what they really say because you're not on the same, you know, you're not thinking the same way. But this is how I feel. And I feel that she's an ingrate. And I also not feel to tell you why. And that's my right.
And indeed it is. We are definitely having a healthy conversation this evening, and I believe it's only going to get more interesting as we, of course, move on down the road. But at this time, we've got to take a break as we, of course, get to the end of the first session here inside this evening's edition of The Chair. Stick around. We're coming back with more of Winston Gypsy Peters after this.
Dame poquito agua, por favor. Agua.